Let's take a few minutes and talk about how to drive a Class C RV. We get a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages of people that are worried about what it's like to drive an RV. Well, it's not that difficult, but there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. First, the RV is a lot bigger and a lot heavier than your typical passenger vehicle. And you need to remember this while you're driving it for a couple of reasons. One, whenever you're driving down the road and you go to make a corner, you need to make that turn a little bit wider. Otherwise, your rear wheels are going to cut the corner and potentially drive up onto the curb or hit a stop sign or other road marker. It's very common for people when they're pulling into gas stations, when they pull away from the gas pump to turn the wheels too quickly and the back end of the RV slides into the bollards around the gas pump or hits the gas pump themselves. This can be a very costly mistake, but it's very common. The next tip that I'm going to give about driving the RV is because the RV is bigger and heavier, you need to give yourself space between you and the vehicles in front of you and slow down. These RVs have very big engines in them. They have a lot of power, and you feel like you can go very fast. But really, they're not designed to go much above about 65 miles an hour, 70 at the max. If you're going faster than this, you're going to find that the RV does not handle very well, and it's going to put increased wear and strain on the engine and the powertrain. So remember, give yourself plenty of space and slow down. The other thing that people don't realize with these RVs is they're not very aerodynamic. They're big and boxy, almost like a big sail. We get comments all the time and complaints where people will say, hey, we like the RV, but the alignment really needs to be checked because it's all over the road. We ask them, well, was it windy at all where you were driving? They say, well, not really. So then we check. Any wind above about 5 miles an hour crosswind where you're driving will throw the RV all around the road. The other thing is when semis and other large vehicles pass you on the highway, that will also tend to push the RV side to side around the road. In extreme winds and in extreme cases, you can actually be blown off of the road or lose control of the RV. The RV can even tip over. So it's really important that you know the weather that you're going to be driving into. High winds mean slow down. Another thing that is very common is that when the vehicle is driving through high winds and it's getting shaken side to side, the StabiliTrak sensors will go off, meaning that it senses that the RV is leaning too far one side to the other. When the StabiliTrak light turns on, it disconnects your cruise control, which can be annoying. The easy way to reset the StabiliTrak light is to pull over, turn the RV off, remove the key, put the key back in, turn it back on again, and the StabiliTrak light should be reset. Then your cruise control will function again. But if it's windy enough that the StabiliTrak light is turning on frequently, you really need to slow down. There are times when 35 miles an hour on the highway is the only safe speed to be traveling in an RV. But that's up to the driver to determine. The last thing anybody wants is to get into an accident or to tip over their RV. That'll certainly ruin a family vacation. Another thing to remember when you're driving one of these RVs is that they're very tall and very boxy. So you need to always be aware of things like tree branches and other objects that you wouldn't worry about when driving in your car, but that you could possibly hit or bump into in the RV. It doesn't take much to damage these RVs. Just a small bump into a tree limb can cause thousands of dollars in damage. Another common question that we are asked is, what kind of gas mileage do these vehicles get? Well, the short answer is not very good. As you can see, they're not very aerodynamic. They take big motors, big transmissions to move these vehicles. However, there are some things that you can do to improve your fuel economy. The first one, as I have already mentioned, is slow down. If you can travel between 60 and 65 miles an hour on the freeway, you will see a tremendous increase in gas mileage versus 65 to 70. If you can travel between 55 to 60 miles per hour, you will see an even bigger increase in fuel economy. If I were to give a number, an estimate, it would be about 8 miles per gallon. However, you can increase that dramatically depending on how you drive. I've seen as high as 11 miles per gallon on long straightaways, and some people have reported as high as 13. So it all depends on how you drive and how much money you want to spend at the pump. As far as the driving controls are concerned, the RVs are designed just like any car or truck, with the steering wheel, the gear shift. You've got controls on the steering wheel, the horn. You've also got your climate control on the dash, as well as some USB ports and connectivity to the multimedia system. All of our RVs have a backup camera that's either located on a screen just off the dash or where the rear view mirror would be. Whenever you shift it into reverse, the backup camera will turn on and will show you what's behind you. It's also still a good idea to have somebody get out of the RV and make sure that everything around you is clear. Another big difference between passenger cars and RVs is the use of your side mirrors. Because you can't see very well from the inside of the RV, you have to rely heavily on your rear view mirrors. So before you start to drive, it's a good idea to get out or have somebody get out and adjust the mirrors. Some of our RVs have power mirrors that are adjustable. Others you have to do manually. If it's manual, then what you need to do is have somebody get out and adjust the mirror side to side, up and down, while you look and see what the proper position is so that you get a good vision of the side of the RV and the lanes around you. The lower mirror is for your blind spot. You adjust that so that you eliminate most of your blind spots. Whenever you're changing lanes, you need to be certain that the blind spot is clear as well as the lane to the side of you. And you can only do that by paying close attention to the mirrors. As you're driving, you should be constantly scanning between the front of the road, your right and your left mirror to make sure that you know what traffic is around you. It's particularly important when you are driving on busy streets and in busy areas to know exactly what traffic is around you to avoid getting into an accident.